Time for the peacock to roar.
Welcome to episode 2 of How They Got Here, Mark Wahlberg. Many of you may know him as Marky Mark, but him and the Funky Bunch were short-lived as Mark Wahlberg went down the acting path shortly after. Mark Wahlberg started his acting career in 1993 on a TV movie called The Substitute, but his big screen debut came in Danny DeVito's The Renaissance Man in 1994. Next up was The Basketball Diaries in 1995 with Leonardo DiCaprio, followed by Fear in 96 with Reese Witherspoon. In 1997, Mark Wahlberg got his first big break. No, it wasn't in Traveler, it was in Boogie Nights. Luckily for Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio turned down the role of troubled porn star Dirk Diggler so he could do Titanic. Once he turned it down, he suggested Wahlberg for the role, and it looks like both their careers were on the rise from this point forward. Another fun fact, remember that scene at the end of the film when Wahlberg's character is standing in front of a mirror? Well, that rather large organ you saw was of course a fake one. Well, the fun fact in that is Mark Wahlberg actually got to keep the prosthetic rubbery device, and he has said in the past that it has started to deteriorate. I wonder what kind of condition it is in now. After Boogie Nights, Wahlberg went on to do 2 films that he wasn't actually supposed to be in. In The Big Hit, his role was originally written for Martin Lawrence, and then in The Corruptor, his role was supposed to be played by Ethan Hawke. Still, in 1999, Mark Wahlberg starred in The Three Kings, alongside George Clooney and Ice Cube. And guess what? He also wasn't supposed to be Troy Barlow. Both Matt Damon and Matthew McConaughey turned down the role. Maybe it was the electric shock torture scene that made them turn the role down, because Mark Wahlberg actually received an electric shock in that scene. Not sure if it's just a lucky horseshoe up his ass or just hard work and dedication, but Mark Wahlberg had a solid 90s acting career. His first film in 2000 was The Yards as Leo Handler, where he actually fought Joaquin Phoenix. Then came The Perfect Storm, a role that was sought out after for Ben Affleck, then originally casted for Nicolas Cage. Mark Wahlberg got to work with George Clooney for the second time, mainly because Mr. Clooney gave a glowing recommendation for him. Next up was Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Wahlberg played Captain Leo Davidson and accepted the role after a mere 5-minute meeting with Tim Burton. Wahlberg was actually so anxious to work with Mr. Burton that he dropped out of Ocean's 11, where he was casted as Linus, which went to Matt Damon. However, it wasn't all flowers and sunshine, as Wahlberg said he wouldn't wear a loincloth like Charlton Heston did in the 1968 version of the Planet of the Apes, as he was worried it would remind people of his underwear modeling. Moving right past Rockstar and The Truth About Charlie, which Mr. Wahlberg has stated as his worst film ever, it's actually kind of funny because the role was meant for Will Smith, so it's basically the one time it actually didn't work out for Wahlberg. Following that travesty came The Italian Job. It's a fair assumption that his role as Charlie Croker really gathered a new generation of Mark Wahlberg fans. In 2004, Wahlberg worked with director David O. Russell for the first time in I Heart Huckabees, and then came Four Brothers. Wahlberg's role was actually turned down by Ethan Hawke, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck, but they were also considering Brad Pitt, Bradley Cooper, and Vin Diesel before they settled on Wahlberg. 2006 was a good year for Wahlberg as he portrayed Vince Papale when he played for the football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, in Invincible. And then, what you could call his second wave of awesomeness came The Departed.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself. My theory on feds is they're like mushrooms. Feed them shit and keep them in the dark.
Ray Liotta, Dennis Leary, and Ethan Hawke were also considered for Dignam's role. Wahlberg followed up his great performance with Shooter. According to the movie's script doctor, whatever that is, William Goldman, Clint Eastwood, Robert Redford, and Harrison Ford passed on the movie, and the original choice was Keanu Reeves, but the role went to Mark Wahlberg under one condition: lose 20 pounds to make his character give this slim and ripped look of a field sniper. Unfortunately, Wahlberg went through a bit of a dark spell after Shooter. From 2007 to 2009, he starred in We Own the Night, The Happening, Max Payne, and The Lovely Bones, all of which were reviewed poorly. In fact, Wahlberg stated that he regrets working on The Happening. Ouch. In 2010, Wahlberg took a more comedic approach as he starred in Date Night alongside Steve Carell and Tina Fey, then followed it up with The Other Guys, working with Will Ferrell. The idea of Wahlberg and Ferrell teaming up actually had started back in 2007 at the Oscars, when Will was viciously insulting other actors as part of a funny bit, but then would be nice to Mark. Also in 2010, he starred in The Fighter with Christian Bale and Amy Adams. Christian Bale actually wasn't supposed to be in the film, but Wahlberg asked him to take part in the film. And now we actually hit a 1-year break. I am not kidding you. Mark Wahlberg had a project every single year since 1993 until 2011. Mad respect for him, and he still deserves more. In 2012, Wahlberg came back somewhat strong, as Contraband received mixed reviews, but it was his comedic performance in Ted that really got him on the rise again.
Alright, I'll be Trina, Reba, Cassandra, Nikki, Kelsey, Shauna, Jolene, Erling, Claudine, Savannah, Casey, Dolly, Kendra, Kylie, Chloe, Devin, Emma, Luke, Becky?
Nope.
Wait, was it any one of those names with a Lynn after it?
Yes.
I got you. Okay. Brandy Lynn, Heather Lynn,
Tammy Lynn.
Ah!
Here's a not so much fun fact, but more of a crazy fact. Director and writer Seth MacFarlane and Mark Wahlberg were supposed to be on one of the planes that hit the World Trade Center. Wahlberg changed his mind that day and drove to New York, and MacFarlane arrived at the gate 10 minutes late and was unable to board. Next up was a very busy 2013 for Wahlberg. The first half was a mediocre rise with Broken City and Michael Bay's Pain and Gain, but the year started to pick back up with Two Guns and ended on a high note with Lone Survivor. Now in the home stretch, in 2014, Wahlberg was the new face of the Transformers franchise as he starred in Transformers: Age of Extinction. Later that year, he lost 61 pounds to play Jim Bennett in The Gambler. Wahlberg stated that he would prepare his whole life for a role like the one he played in The Gambler, but would never lose that much weight again, even though it was the most challenging role of his career. Similar to his 2013, 2015 was very busy as he starred in 4 films: Mojave with Oscar Isaac, his baby since 2004 Entourage, which if you didn't know is loosely based on his life, and then it was the sequel to Ted, and then Daddy's Home, where he worked with Will Ferrell again. And now, present day 2016, Mark Wahlberg stars in Deepwater Horizon, a story set on the offshore drilling rig which exploded in 2010 and created the worst oil spill in US history. And that, everyone, is how Mark Wahlberg got here.